Good evening, brothers and sisters. I come to you today with a simple but profound fact. It's time to restore yourself. Oh yes, I said it. Restoration yourself now, not your neighbor. Now, not your partner. No longer the system you. Due to the fact before, you may change whatever else you should confront the person staring again at you. Within the replicate, concentrate to me. No person owes you a rescue plan. No one is coming to repair your mess or bandage up the injuries you've got ignored for years. It is your obligation to take the wheel of your own existence. You preserve blaming the authorities, your childhood, or the PR or the people who walked out. Fix yourself because they're no longer coming returned, and time is not waiting. We spend a lot of time blaming others for our ache. However, allow me ask you this. When turned into the final time, you tested your heart while become the last time you held yourself accountable. Some of us are walking from character. The character from job, to process, from church to church, because we don't want to face the reality that the trouble is not them. It is us. Repair yourself. Because till you do, nothing else will paintings permit me inform you. Your existence is not built by the huge moments, is constructed through the small, quiet decisions you make every unmarried day. Oh, you do not believe me? Then take a look at your conduct. Your conduct reveal your priorities, what your water will grow. So what are you watering? Fix yourself via choosing higher. Each day, due to the fact the next day relies upon on it. Some of us are trapped in cycles we've inherited. Sure, I said it. Cycles of anger, worry, dependency, or laziness. But permit me tell you something. What you do not confront, you may repeat, and what you repeat, you will skip down. Repair yourself because your future. Generations are relying on you to break the chain. Fixing yourself isn't always going to experience, right? No, it's going to hurt. It's going to stretch you, humble you, and make you uncomfortable. However, let me remind you, diamonds are solid under pressure, and gold is subtle by fireplace. So do not run from the ache, run via it restoration. Yourself, due to the fact increase, is waiting on the alternative aspect of your struggle. You may pray all day, but in case you're no longer inclined to behave, you're losing your breath. Religion without works is lifeless. My friends, fix yourself through combining your notion with action. Prevent looking ahead to the correct moment, and begin sowing the seeds today for the harvest you are praying for tomorrow. So my message to you is straightforward. Forestall watching for a rescue. Forestall making excuses. Prevent waving others the electricity. To alternate your life is already interior. The time is now. Restoration yourself, and watch the arena around you rework. Allow me inform you, something actual and uncooked. No one is coming to save you. No person is coming to sweep in and fasten the whole thing. It is broken to your life. And I recognize that might be hard to hear, but it's the truth that units you loose, you spot too. A lot of us are ready, anticipating the correct opportunity. Looking ahead to someone to make an apology. Looking ahead to the right assets, waiting for any individual for someone to come and make all of it better. However, life doesn't work like that. You cannot have the funds to preserve sitting on the sidelines, hoping that a paranormal moment will arrive to set everything proper. That's now not how future works. It's time to take proprietor's deliver of your life, your picks and your outcomes. Possession method spotting that, wherein you are right now, whether it's properly bad or someplace in between, is a result of the picks you have made. It is no longer about blaming yourself or beating yourself up. It's about acknowledging your strength, because the instant you personal, your state of affairs is the moment you may start to change it. And let me tell you, responsibility isn't a burden. It's a gift. It's the belief that you do not must to await a person else to free up the door for you. You keep the key, your decisions, your mindset, your movements. They've the power to exchange the trajectory of your life. However, in case you hold blaming every person else, in case you hold pointing the finger outward, you will live stuck precisely wherein you are. Oh, I are aware of its tempting, responsible others. It is tempting to say, if best my dad and mom had completed this, or if handiest they hadn't left me, or if best the gadget wasn't in opposition to me. But they ask you this even as you are busy blaming who is fixing, who's installing the work to make your existence higher. No one, this is why possession is the first step. It is now. Not about excusing what passed off to you, or pretending the entirety is honest. No, it's approximately announcing that is my lifestyles, and I refuse to permit my instances outline my future. Taking ownership means refusing to play the sufferer. It man or status up, even whilst you've been knocked down, and saying I am now not staying here. I'm going to rebuild, despite the fact that I must do it one brick at a time. Ownership doesn't watch for perfect situations. It makes the most of what it has. It does not search for a person else responsible. It seems for solutions. You cannot control everything that takes place to you, but you manage how you reply, and that's in which your electricity lies. You have the capability to pick out, to behave, to move ahead. So forestall looking forward to a rescue stop, seeking out outside, fixed to inner problems. Take duty, very own your mistakes. Very own your ache and own your ability. Due to the fact the life you need isn't in a person else's fingers, it's in yours. Restore yourself, 'cause no person else will do it for you. There is a risky tendency in all of us to look outward while things move incorrect. We search for a person or something responsible. Our dad and mom, our past, the human beings around us, even society. At huge, we point the finger at everybody else, all while neglecting the one individual who definitely holds the important thing to our transformation ourselves. But the reality is, the problem frequently isn't always out there. It's in here, in our hearts, in our attitudes. You may in no way fix what you refuse to face. And so many of us are averting the reality approximately ourselves. We are so busy chasing outside answers, hoping that a new activity, a brand new dating, or a new region will alternate the whole thing, while in fact, the alternate we're looking for must begin from inside before you could factor to the entirety, and everybody else is the problem. You want to take a protracted hard, take a look at your very own reflection. What are the thoughts that dominate your thoughts? What are the behavior that maintain pulling you lower back into old styles? What fears or insecurities have you been hiding from? These are the questions that need to be asked, because the answers are the key to unlocking your capacity. You notice if you don't cope with the troubles interior, they will maintain to take place outwardly. What you suppress will finally upward push up, and it'll display up for your choices, for your relationships, and within the way you approach existence. When you have unresolved anger, it'll seep out to your interactions with others. When you have fear, it'll paralyze your development. If you have low, it's going to maintain you from getting into the greatness that's already internal of you, so that you can't run from the hassle within. You need to confront it. Identifying the hassle inside isn't about self condemnation. It is approximately self-consciousness. It's about information that what you are going via isn't always a person else's fault. Occasionally, it's your attitude that is retaining you back on occasion. It's the lies you believed approximately yourself for years. You may have been told you were not properly enough, or you could have satisfied yourself, which you do not deserve more those inner battles. Whether they rooted in trauma or poor self to communicate, are the real issues they need to be handled, head at the maximum powerful transformation takes place when you appear in center and say, I'm going to face the matters I have been keeping off. I am going to heal the injuries I've been seeking to cover up. I'm going to interrupt the cycle of worry, doubt, and negativity. It has been controlling me. When you try this, the outward circumstances will begin to shift no longer due to the fact the sector has changed, but because you have, you could best repair what you're willing to confront. And step one is being honest with yourself, recognizing the regions wherein you've been sabotaging your own achievement, happiness, and increase. You could change your surroundings. However, if you do not address the inner troubles, you may carry the same problems with you wherever you move. So forestall looking out of doors for the repair. The real answer lies inside of you. Identifying and addressing the hassle inside is the beginning of your recovery, your boom on your leap forward. It's time to prevent running and face what has been keeping you returned. Only then can you truly flow forward every single day from the moment you wake up to the minute you shut your eyes at nighttime. Your life is shaped with the aid of the selections you are making. And let me tell you something, the power of your decisions cannot be overstated. It's no longer the huge dramatic moments that outline your lifestyles. It is the small, consistent selections you're making, whilst no person's looking. The ones are the moments that said, construct your destiny. Think about it. Each selection, regardless of how small, is sort of a seed. What you plant these days will grow into the life you live the next day. If you plant seeds of field attention and pose positivity, your future will replicate that. However, if you're careless, if you sow seeds of procrastination, negativity, and terrible behavior, you may obtain a harvest you don't want, as a typical law. You cannot plant one aspect and anticipate every other to develop. Here's the truth. Your selections either take you toward the lifestyles you choose, or further far away from it. There is no impartial floor. Every preference topics. Whether it's the way you spend some time, who you partner with, the way you manage your assets, or maybe the thoughts you allow to linger to your thoughts, all of those decisions are shaping the trajectory of your life. You would possibly suppose the little matters do not matter, but they do. They upload up a small compromise nowadays can cause a huge result tomorrow. But here's the best news, simply, as terrible decisions can result in setbacks, accurate selections have the strength to propel you forward. You do not ought to fix your complete life, and in the future, you just should start making better selections. One step at a time, pick to awaken earlier. Select to put money into your boom. Select to forgive, rather than conserving a grudge. Pick out to take the excessive road, even if it's now not easy. Those selections might also appear small in the second. However, they're laying the muse for the person you are becoming. The strength of decisions, additionally, lies in their ability to break cycles. Maybe you come back from a own family wherein negative choices have been the norm, selections that brought about ache, war, and lack. However, guess what? You've got the electricity to interrupt that cycle. You may select in a different way. You could decide that the tale would not stop the manner it commenced. Your decisions are the pen in your hand, writing a brand new bankruptcy, creating a new legacy. Now, do not get me incorrect. Making the right selection isn't clean. Every so often, it manner, sacrificing, brief-term consolation for long-term advantage from time to time. It method, pronouncing no to matters that feel desirable in the second, be appropriate for you in the long run. However, that is the beauty of it. Whenever you're making the right desire, you're strengthening your individual. You're proving to yourself that you have what it takes to upward push above. And permit me, remind you, a decision is a choice too, whilst you refuse to behave, whilst you delay. When you allow worry or doubt preserve you, stagnant, you're nonetheless making a preference. a choice to live where your, however, lifestyles isn't always going to watch for you. Time is shifting, whether or not you are or not. So make the selection to transport. Make the choice to grow. Make the choice to emerge as who you had been created to be. The lifestyles you need isn't constructed in an unmarried jump. It's constructed one selection at a time. So begin today. Choose accurately. Choose deliberately. Because the energy to create the future, choice, is already on your fingers. Your choices will form your future. Make them depend. Breaking cycles of negativity is one of the most essential and brave matters you may do in lifestyles. Those cycles are available in many forms. Patterns of self-doubt, toxic relationships, terrible behavior, damaging mindsets, or generational struggles, passed down like unwanted hundreds. However, irrespective of in which they arrive from, or how lengthy they've been a part of your lifestyles. One issue is apparent. They must be broken due to the fact if you do not spoil them, they may wreck you. Negativity has a way of becoming a consolation area. It whispers, "This is just how things are," or "You cannot do any better," until you begin to believe it. It creates a loop, a pattern in which the identical errors, the identical pain, the equal results keep repeating themselves. You examine your existence and wonder, why does this preserve happening to me? However, the real question is, what am I doing to forestall it? Because the cycle might not stop on its very own. It calls for purpose, effort, and deep dedication. To exchange the first step in breaking a cycle is spotting it. You cannot combat what you refuse to see. Take a look at your life truly. Wherein are the regions that experience caught? What are the habits or thoughts that keep main? You returned to the identical lifeless ends. For some of us, it is procrastination. For others, it's anger, worry, or loss of self. Contour manipulate something. It is name it out for what it's. Miles due to the fact what you name, you can declare authority over as soon as you've recognized the cycle you need to confront it. This is wherein many humans falter. Because confronting negativity frequently dealing with pain, trauma, or uncomfortable fact. But permit me, tell you something. Keeping off the combat would not make it go away. You cannot outrun what's chasing you if it lives internal of you. You have to stand your ground and decide, this ends with me. Breaking a cycle isn't always approximately blaming others, even supposing they played a role function in it. It is about taking back your energy. Perhaps you grew up in an environment wherein negativity was the norm, in which humans spoke words of doubt and discouragement over you, where love changed into conditional, or in which failure changed into expected. That wasn't your fault. However, here's the reality. It is your responsibility to exchange it. You do not should convey what become exceeded to you. You have got the power to rewrite the script, and do not suppose for a second that breaking a cycle is simple is going to require field perseverance and a willingness to be uncomfortable. It means say no to stuff you used to say yes to it. Method, walking away from people, places, or situations that hold dragging you down. It approached learning to assume otherwise, to speak differently, and to behave differently, and sure, it will be tough. However, let me remind you, tough isn't always impossible, and the reward of freedom is really worth the warfare. Breaking a cycle also calls for changing the negative. With something fantastic, you can't just forestall a habit or concept sample and depart the space empty. You have to fill it with something better. Replace self-doubt with self-notion. Replace poisonous relationships with healthy ones. Replace unfavorable conduct with efficient ones. You need to actively build the existence you want at the same time as dismantling the cycle. It has been protecting you again, remember. Breaking the cycle is not just about you. It's about the humans related to you. Your circle of relatives, your children, your community. While you destroy loose, you pave the way for others to do the equal. You end up a chain breaker, a cycle shifter, someone who modifications the trajectory, no longer just of their very own lifestyles, but of generations to come back. So make the choice today. Refuse to live stuck in a cycle. Beneath you, rise up, combat returned, and do the work to create a brand new course due to the fact breaking a cycle of negativity isn't just about escaping something bad. It is approximately moving into something better, and that higher lifestyles is looking forward to you. On the alternative facet, increase and ache are sides of the identical coin, and you cannot have one without the other. Too many of us need the reward without the war, the success without the sacrifice, transformation without the trial. The trial, however, permit me tell you something, the real increase doesn't appear within the consolation zone. It occurs inside the fireplace. It takes place while you're stretched, while you're challenged, and when you're driven past what you thought you could bear. Ache is frequently seen as something to avoid, something to break out from, in any respect expenses. But the fact is, ache is a trainer. It has the capacity to expose matters about you, ye for by no means may want to pain, shows you your limits, and then it dares you to head beyond them. It strips away the illusions, the reasons, and the masks, leaving you head to head together with your authentic self. And in that uncooked, vulnerable place, growth starts off evolved. I consider it a seed should destroy, open to grow into a tree, a caterpillar have to war in the cocoon, to grow to be a butterfly. Even gold need to go through the hearth to be refined. Increase is in no way clean, and it's rarely quite. It is messy, it's uncomfortable, it is painful. However, it is also important, because the version of you that's at ease cannot reap the future. It really is calling you. You have to allow that model of you cross. You need to embody the technique, irrespective of how tough it feels. Some of us spend a lot time going for walks from ache, that we omit the increase it brings. We keep away from the hard conversations, the hard choices, the dangers that might cause failure, because we don't need to feel discomfort. But right, here's the element. The ache you avoid nowadays might be the remorse you convey day after day. Boom, hurts, however, stagnation kills. Staying the equal, refusing to exchange, clinging to what's acquainted, that is wherein goals go these days, whilst you embrace pain as a part of the process. Something powerful happens. You forestall seeing it as your enemy and start seeing it as your ally. You understand that every battle, every setback, every heartache is a stepping stone, no longer a stumbling block. You study that the matter's supposed to interrupt. You could genuinely build you if you let. Them ache doesn't just screen who you are, it refines who you are. It takes the raw fabric of your capability and turns it into energy, resilience, and know-how. But allow me be clear. Embracing boom and pain would not mean you enjoy the suffering. It does not mean you fake. It would not hurt. It means you remember the fact that the ache has a cause, and also you believe the process. Even while you cannot see the outcome, it way you live in the fight, even if the whole lot in you wants to give up, because that on the alternative facet of this pain is the man or woman you had been intended to turn out to be. So stop jogging from the difficult things. Prevent averting the challenges that scare you. Face them head on. Sense the ache, however. Do not permit it. Paralyze you. Use it as gasoline. Use it as a reminder that you're developing. You are changing. You are turning into the discomfort you experience now could be temporary. However, the boom it produces will final a lifetime, and right here's the beauty of it. The more you include increase and pain, the more potent you end up. What as soon as felt impossible becomes your new ordinary. The matters that used to intimidate you now not hold electricity over you. You begin to see yourself in a different way, no longer as someone who is broken, but as a person who's being constructed. Embrace the method, include the struggle, include the ache, because it's now not there to spoil you. It is there to expand you. And while the process is whole, you look again and recognize that every tear, each sacrifice, each moment of soreness was really worth it. Boom. Isn't always clean, but it's continually well worth it. Faith without action is like a vehicle without an engine. It appears proper from the out of doors. However, it's not going anywhere. And movement without faith, it's like going for walks, a race, with no finish line, onerous yourself, with none actual reason or route. The two should work together, hand in hand, to create the kind of existence that actions mountains and adjustments. Destiny's faith and action and team spirit are the forces that flip dreams into fact. Religion is the vision. It's the belief in what you cannot, but see the self-assurance of something extra is feasible, even if all of the proof round you says in any other case, faith is strong. However, faith alone isn't always enough. You may agree with all day long, but in case you're not willing to step out and do the work, your notion will never materialize. You can pray for the door to open, however you must stand up and knock. Movement, on the other hand, is the movement. It is the decision to show up to position inside the effort to take the first step. Even whilst you're scared, even whilst you're uncertain, even whilst you don't have it all figured out, action is wherein faith comes alive. It is the evidence that you consider what you say. You consider, if you have religion, that the seed you planted will grow. You may water it. You may nurture it. You might not just sit there staring at the dirt, hoping for a miracle. Faith gives you the courage to start. However, motion is what incorporates you forward. And let me tell you, there may be moments while your religion wavers, when the adventure feels too lengthy, when the boundaries sense too massive, while you're tempted to give up. That is while movement steps in to remind you which you've come too far to show lower back now. And in those moments, every step you take is a statement of religion. Even whilst you do not sense it, the harmony of religion and motion is a partnership. Religion fuels your movement, and movement strengthens your religion. While you are taking a breakthrough, even a small one, you begin to see development, and that development builds your confidence, reinforcing your perception that the vision is well worth pursuing. It is a cycle. Religion inspires action and motion, deepest faith together. They create momentum, and momentum creates breakthroughs. However, permit me warn you, religion and motion don't usually experience handy. They require sacrifice. They require you to push beyond fear, doubt, and comfort. They demand patience, especially when the consequences don't come as speedy as you want. It is smooth to trust, whilst the whole lot is going your manner, and it's clean to do so, whilst the path is obvious. However, the real test of religion and motion is what you do when the road is uncertain, when the percentages are in opposition to you. And while the arena tells you to prevent faith without action is incomplete, it's now not sufficient to say you accept as true within your capacity. If you're no longer inclined to invest in it, is not sufficient to hope for alternate. If you're no longer willing to make exceptional choices, and movement without faith is aimless. You can work tough, you may grind day and nighttime, but without a guiding perception, you'll locate yourself, drained, misplaced, and disconnected out of your cause. When faith and movement come collectively, they invent a force that cannot be stopped. Religion gives you the motive to hold going. Motion gives you the energy to make it take place together. They devise miracles collectively. They flip not possible conditions in the tales of triumph. Collectively, they align your efforts along with your reason, ensuring that the paintings you are doing is not just busy work, but state paintings, building something extra than yourself. So do not simply sit and watch for your desires to manifest accept as true within them. With all of your heart, however, also get to work. Take the soar. Make the circulate proper. The move, right? The plan. Take the threat. Permit your movements. Be the evidence of your faith, and permit your religion and permit your faith be the electricity at the back of your movements. Because whilst faith and motion unite, there's not anything you can't accomplish in end. Fixing yourself isn't approximately perfection. It is about development. It is about taking possession of your life, confronting the troubles with, and making intentional choices that align together with your reason. It's about breaking the cycles of negativity that have held you back, embracing the boom that comes through ache and knowledge that every leap forward requires faith and movement running in harmony. This adventure isn't clean, but it's important. It is no longer about blaming others or looking forward to a person else to alternate your lifestyles. It's approximately moving into your energy and deciding that your story will now not give up. Wherein it started out, the trade or seeking for starts. Off evolved with you. It's within the way you think, the selections you make, the behavior you shape and encourage you sue of to hold shifting ahead. Even when it's hard, bear in mind each second of soreness is a stepping stone to the lifestyles you were supposed to stay. Every choice to grow, every attempt to improve, every act of religion and motion brings you towards your destiny. You aren't a victim of your situations. You're the architect of your destiny. So upward, thrust up, take obligation, face the tough truths and the my truths, and do the work, because the strength to fix yourself is already inside you. And whilst you decide to that technique, there is no restriction to what you may come to be.